TV. And this episode is sponsored by Cannabis Clothing. Cannabis Clothing shop is back open. Please head to the website, cannabisclothing.com, and make your purchases today. As you should know, we just dropped our recent final season of our Drug Lord collection. We've reimagined the Drug Lord and reimagined the conversation. As y'all do know, that's what the theme of the line is about. So please stop by there. We dropped our final season, which means this is the last run of that. So make sure y'all cop it. It's a limited supply. All right, without further ado, man, I got my guest in the building, man, who I know him well. You know what I mean? I can't even lie. Like, I've known Mike for a little while now at this point. And let me turn this off. I know Mike for a little while now, to the point where Mike would just kind of stop by and talk. We really need to talk a lot more. He's definitely a brilliant man. But we're talking about man Mike Lawson, the health professional, entrepreneur, cannabis advocate, the man behind Cannabis Media Collective, and the guy who's going to be speaking at Black CannaCon this weekend about the 30-day cleanse.
Yes.
And if y'all are familiar with Cash Color Cannabis podcast, as you should be if you're watching, then you know when me and Mike was on here talking initially about that months ago, about taking a 30-day break from cannabis and why that's needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I actually survived mine. Actually, I ain't gonna lie. It was 31 months in the day. I got to 30. And part of it was because I passed the drug test, and I was already like, you know what? I done went this far.
30 was the goal, though.
30 was the goal. I did hit that.
I
did hit that, man. I'm very, very, very proud of myself, man. I might go get me a tight gold chain.
Right. Man, we got to circle back to that.
I might go get me a tight gold chain for that. Y'all missed some really good conversation prior to when we hit start. We started talking I know why we started talking. I saw a rapper, fairly big guy, had two really big small chains on, and I was like, how'd you even get this on your neck? Like, and why are you wearing this? And we started thinking about how chains went from being really down almost to your waist to now it's all up on your throat. Like, I don't want to breathe.
Man, we done went from one side of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah.
Like the BMF era, like you said, the chain hanging by your navel, to now it's like obstructing your breathing. Like, it should never be that tight.
You know, we was talking briefly on the air about, fake jewelry. There's clearly fake jewelry out here if y'all don't know it not. Like, there's some lab-grown diamonds, extremely expensive. Like, y'all see a lot of stuff y'all seeing in these streets and in these clubs is nowhere close to real.
Not even close.
I wish my fake jewelry game back when I was in high school was that tough. Like I was literally going to the mall to get the Fabulous baseball earrings. Like, when Fab used to, it was almost like I was in a race with Fab at one point.
Right.
His earrings would get bigger, mine's got to get bigger too. Like, I'm just gonna get the whole pack. I got $10. Let me get the whole pack.
Man, the cubic zirconiums though of today's era look way better than they did.
Oh wait, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would invest in some of this fake shit.
Yo, the cubics now.
Don't pull up on me with that diamond tester thing like I be seeing people doing in the mall. But
yeah, that one that's ice cold right there.
I don't know why that don't start more fights. Like, if you gonna walk up to me I actually saw one video where it almost did start a fight. Because dude was not expecting none of this.
Right, I was just about to say that. Some people really think that they bought their stones from a legit jeweler.
Yeah.
But they don't know the color of the stone.
Jokes on you, bro.
They don't know the clarity.
Jokes
and they don't
on
know
you.
the cut. But we not, that's a whole nother conversation.
A whole nother conversation, man. But like I said, I got my man Mike on here, and Mike is going to be one of the many amazing speakers that's going to be in New Orleans this week for Black CannaCon. I'm going to be down there myself.
Yes.
Actually, I got to moderate a panel, man. I moderate what is it? I gotta moderate.
Yeah, you busy, man. I saw you.
Oh
I saw your name all over the agenda.
Yeah. Me and Chris Ball. Shout out to Chris Ball and Ball Family Farm.
Yeah, I can't wait for that panel.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit. Yo, you know what?
I'm looking forward to
I had a chance to talk to him. I think it was Monday. We kind of did a little briefing. Dude is cool as fuck, and I can't wait for this interview. I didn't know his background's crazy too. Like, as far as the football to the weed and all that, like wildly crazy. But me and him are gonna be speaking about cultivation. So his program is gonna be really dope. I'm glad I got a chance to lead that.
Like, for me, bro, is when I see the Ball family, and I just look to the future. Time is gonna fly. I graduated Morehouse almost 20 years ago. I never would have thought time would have flew that fast. But guess what? The next 15, 20 years is gonna fly by.
Yeah.
And it's the Ball families and the Harringtons of the world who are gonna be the titans of this industry.
That's crazy.
And we seeing that develop in front of our eyes right now. So I think that's just a fascinating thing to watch unfold.
Mind you, all I can think about right now is you with some baggy jeans on with a Motorola flip phone. Like, yo, this ain't never gonna change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This ain't never changing.
For real. with a baseball cap just 2 sizes too big.
Yo, why did we do that? Like, even now, I went back home. I went to Boston a couple weeks ago to go visit my mom, and I still, whenever I go back, I go look into my closet, and I ask her always, like, yo, so you really let me walk outside with size 38 pants? Like, I ever wore 38?
Throwback down to your thighs.
Yeah. She said, I knew it was foolish, but you had to eventually get through it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody you knew was doing the same thing. You had to eventually get through it.
Right.
But, whoo, child, yeah, man. But it's going to be a great time. I will have a good time having that conversation with Chris, and that's going to be going down on Friday.
Absolutely.
But you have a chance to speak as well.
Yes, I do, man. So I'm speaking Thursday, room 237, I believe, 3 o'clock to 3:50 in the New Orleans Convention Center, everybody, for the Black Cannabis Convention. And it's going to be dynamic. My presentation is going to be on the 30-day cleanse, which you're very familiar with.
Yes.
I titled it Conquering Cannabis, right? Because I feel like the unspoken conversation is that a lot of us are consuming more cannabis than we need to, right? And a lot of us are prisoners to our routines that revolve around our cannabis use. And so conquer cannabis to me means just using cannabis in a balanced way, to where we're not feeling the withdrawal. We're not feeling uneasy if we don't have it. We discovered different routes of administration. And at the end of the day, the 30-day cleanse, and it doesn't have to be 30 days for everyone, right? That's a very lofty goal, but it's attainable. You know this, I know this. But when we abstain from cannabis for a significant period of time, when we return to our cannabis, it's much more effective.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's why we're using this plant anyway, is for the effects. And so for me, when you think about people dealing with terminal illness, people dealing with serious conditions that require like daily intervention, chronic pain, etc., people need this plant to work effectively every time. And that's what it's all about. So the presentation, it'll just be, really, I plan on only speaking for 30 minutes and then opening it up for a group conversation. I'm going to be very intentional about it. If I have time or space, I'm really going to set the room up in a circle and kind of just change the vibe for the whole experience. Because most people come in there and it's lecture style. It's 3 o'clock. So people at that time, they're going to have heard a couple presentations by then. So
ready to hit the hotel.
But I'm excited because I think this is something that people need to be talking about. And everybody wants their weed to work for them at the end of the day. Yeah,
so I like that. So you're going to have it almost like therapy powwow style?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to try to finesse it. If I can, I got some different activities and interventions I'm going to throw in there. But I'm excited, man. And just to be at Black CannaCon in New Orleans, let's not get into the food. My goodness. Let's not even get into that. Fried oysters, grilled oysters. Man,
I'm looking forward to what Sow and Reap got.
Oh, my God. I'm
looking forward to that.
Yes,
looking forward to that.
Shout out to Sow and Reap.
Yes,
their party, that's Thursday, right?
Yep.
Their party's on Thursday. Buy your ticket if you haven't. But to just be in Louisiana, New Orleans, a place where you could go to jail over a blunt of weed, and to now be on the streets, fellowshipping, politicking with some of the titans in the industry, and you have business owners that are at the upper echelon of the industry, all the way down to new people entering the industry that have innovative ideas. Yeah. And I think the opportunity for everybody to network and connect, I'll stop short of saying it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's definitely a once a year opportunity. I don't see another conference like this for our community.
There's that part
happening, in the United States any other time of year.
It's definitely a once a year opportunity for people who for Black people overall. It's similar to like the Dice Mixer that Ross McCarthy and him
100%.
do. Yeah, it's similar to that. Like it's a once a year experience that you just need to be at 100%. Because it is about that fellowship. It is about that camaraderie, and it's about knowing that we aren't the only ones in the room. And that could often be the case when you're in some of these conferences. Yes, like I speak about, as highly as I do speak about MJ Biz, I've been in them rooms before where it's me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you the black guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's pretty cool to be there and, and look around and be like, all right, so we can have different jokes. Like, I remember last year,
right.
You know what I'm saying? When it's all of us, we can have a whole different kind of jokes.
Man, you can really be yourself because, one thing, I think anybody who's been moving in this space for any period of time, like you just mentioned, as a person of color, and particularly even a woman of color, you find yourself in a room where you don't see people that look like you. And we know psychologically we have to code switch. We have to become different people in different systems and different situations. And to be in New Orleans with your people, with your tribe, we all are on one accord, one frequency, and one understanding is really special.
It's crazy, man. You say code switching. I'm thinking to my mind a certain person I'm seeing today on TV a lot. I'm like, this brother code switching
all
man.
day long.
And y'all don't get, yeah, this dude code switching
All
man.
day long, because we all gonna see each other at MJ BizCon in Vegas, and it's gonna be a different vibe.
Yeah,
it's gonna be dope. But
you ever see
the same.
You ever see the show on Netflix called Big Mouth?
Yes.
Big Mouth had a whole episode about code switching. I was like, yo, finally we talking about this. Yeah,
Real
you be in this
talk.
room, but some of y'all might see me at MJ Biz. You
It's
will
a real
not see
thing.
it. Black CannaCon. It just is what it is.
Right? How often do you get to be professional and be in the barbershop?
Facts,
Same
man. And that is the vibe. You know what? Because last year was the first time. Last year was the first time that Black CannaCon had a chance to be live. Like
Right.
prior to this, it was virtual. So
Right.
you know, we was in the COVID era, and I was so over virtual stuff. So it was happy.
Virtual is whack. Let's just put it out there.
Bro, it was so happy to see people like together, like being
man.
outside smoking, being
Man.
you know what I'm saying, being in the clubs and shit, and we really just kicking it and having these
Man.
type of conversations and talking this kind of language and not feeling like, you know what I mean, you being watched under a microscope.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. So what I find is like, we know that people in this business. Shout out to my partner in my other venture, Justin Buck, Pro Rolling Company. But
Shout out to Justin Buck with Pro
you
Rolling
know,
Company.
the reality is for us for people that's been in this business, whether you've been in it for 10 years or 10 minutes, it's difficult. It's hard work. So either you've been in the game or you just getting in the game. And I feel like if you've been in the game, and when I say game, I mean legacy market, right?
Yeah.
Legacy market or legit corporate market, you either going to get your battery recharged from being in the business and leave out of there with your cup full, or you're going to be a new person coming into the industry fully motivated to get after it. And the energy is just amazing.
You know, this year I'm tackling conferences way different than I have before, and I'm a conference veteran from music conferences and now cannabis conferences. Like I'm a conference veteran. But let me tell you what I never done prior to this year when it comes to conferences. Plan out the type of interviews and the theme that I want to go with. I normally just go with the flow, to be honest with you. And I've been successful doing that as far as having good interviews. But this year I'm literally going with the flow to the point where, so I'm going to be doing Podcast Row Thursday in Vegas for MJ Biz.
Word.
So I get bombarded with all these emails of who the list of people they want you to interview, right?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going through the whole entire list and saying who fits the thing I want to talk about. None of y'all, I skip. Like where before, I really would, I would literally just tag people because I like to fill the time. Similar to what I was doing in our first 2 seasons of Cash Color Cannabis, we would have 3 or 4 guests because I like to fill time. Like I like to make sure we're using the whole entire hour.
Absolutely.
I'm all about quality over quantity over these last 2 years, man. And this year is effective between Black CannaCon and MJ Biz. It's going to be such an amazing lineup of guests, but it's going to be super curated by me.
Man,
it's not so much people just being like, yo, Mec, I see you. Can we do an interview?
Yeah.
Not you know.
For sure.
Trying to be that.
For sure. I mean, I remember even some of the interviews you got last year were dope. And I mean, just the opportunity. We can't stress this enough. Do you know if is it going to be in New Orleans every year, or is this just a man?
New Orleans is a perfect place for it. To be honest
this conference, man, I'm a very forward-thinking, visionary type person. And man, when I tell you, because my first MJ BizCon, I'm gonna keep it funky. I'm an OG. My first MJ Biz was Chicago, 2015.
Sheesh, you are OG.
You feel me? Like I was there when this shit started. I think that might have been year 2 or 3. Before Vegas, before they had the Vegas residency. You feel me? And so what MJ Biz is now, it was clear that was going to be the outcome if you were there in the early days. And it's the same thing in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Dude, years from now, this is going to be like the mecca of Black cannabis entrepreneurship.
Christy really has a good idea. Like I love the concept of it. It's crazy you even mentioned how MJ Biz grew. I spoke with Chris Walsh not too long ago. He's CEO of MJ Biz.
Yeah.
I did it for Black Enterprise, Green Enterprise, matter of fact.
Yeah.
So that episode's dropping on Friday. Shameless plug.
Yeah, I remember Chris when he was just had a little sport coat. It was a regular dude.
And that's what he was telling me.
Now he's super Tom Ford suited up.
Bro, he was telling me. He said it went from literally being like in this room and you had a couple of peoples in there to the point where now MJ Biz is 11 football fields long
All
of
of that.
a conference.
Absolutely. And I see that happening for us. And so, I think something important for us to talk about. You can't throw a rock and not hear the social equity DEI conversation, diversity, equity, inclusion, right? And this conference is the epitome of that. I'm a firm believer that we can't complain about equity if we're not participating ourselves. We can't wait for a handout. We can't wait for somebody to give us permission and tell us how to do it. You just got to jump in the game and figure it out. And this is one of those places and spaces that you can show up, you can pull up, and you can really walk away with relationships, connections, and the beauty of it, as you know, it's at the early phases and stages of this conference. So a lot of these titans of the industry, I mean, when we were there yesterday, Wanda James is just like walking by you.
Yeah, facts.
Like literally within arm's reach. You can reach out and tap her on the shoulder and ask her whatever question you could imagine. You're not going to get that opportunity many other places.
When I told people, because last year it was like that, and I was like, it's never going to be like this ever again.
It's never going to be like Al Harrington. I'm chopping up with Al Harrington.
Bro, the fact that I missed
off
that.
Off the cuff. I just pulled up like, hey, let's.
The fact that I left the spot this early, that by the time I left and got to the hotel, I remember Dirty hitting me. Yo, bro, where you at? I was like, I'm already at the hotel. Right. He said, oh, dog, Al Harrington just came through, made it rain with weed, dog. He was like just Allen Iverson strain everywhere.
Like, where else can you just literally, now you have to have the intention to do that, right? You can't just be one of these people that's sitting around waiting for something to happen. But Al Harrington walk in the room, it's nothing but space and opportunity between me and him.
Absolute fact.
I'm walking up.
Absolute fact.
And like I said, it's tremendously motivating, and it's almost like a spiritual experience to be in the cannabis space, and have somebody who is at the upper echelon of the game tell you, "Oh man, that's an excellent idea. I love what you're doing. That's great."
I thought the same way, because even somebody like Jesse Horton. Jesse Horton's a real.
Oh my God, he's one of my top 5 growers.
You talk about somebody who's super touchable anyway, but at Black CannaCon last year, I'm literally walking outside to make a phone call, and I'm looking at Jesse. I want to say Dirty. It was like a group of people. I'm like, the fuck?
You know what I'm saying? I had the same experience. I turn a corner and I see Jesse Horton with a black jar, and he pulls out a flower that to this day, this is almost a year ago because it was November 18th or something. To this day, is one of the top 5 best buds I've seen in my life. And I've been in this space going on 20 years now.
If you ever get a chance to talk growing, talk weed with Jesse, do that shit.
Right. So, like, when else are you going to bend a corner,
do that shit,
minding your business, and see Jesse Horton rolling a joint of some of the most exquisite cannabis in the world?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And then you can just pull up and ask him, man, how long did it take you to harvest that?
And he'll tell you.
How long did you flower that?
Yeah, he'll tell you, too.
How long did it bloom? How long did it veg? What nutrients did you use? Did you reduce the humidity at the end of bloom?
Sit there like a student. Tell me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not going to get that opportunity anywhere else.
No, you're not. No, you're not. And I loved it, man. It's really, and again, I want to sell it like, saying like I'm selling something, but I am selling something. I'm selling a good experience. Like, make sure you go. I'm mad I'm going to miss Gary Chambers. Like, by the time I land at 10 o'clock that morning, on Thursday morning, I'm going to miss Gary Chambers.
Yo, I really think if this brother is able to win his Senate race, it will be just a tremendous game changer because, I talk with Chris Brown all the time about cannabis policy, and shout out to Chris. And the reality is, man, we have to vote in legislators that are with this cannabis policy agenda. Simple as that. If they're not with cannabis legalization, we got to forget decriminalization. We passed that. That should be a given. But if our legislators are not with the 420 agenda in more ways than one, then we don't need to vote for them, in my opinion. Simple as that. And
I think that's an issue going on in Georgia right now. Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp, one of y'all need to make a solid stance on this and quit tap dancing around, because the longer you tap dance around, the longer Georgia's going to be like one of the last states to do anything.
100%.
And it's so confusing.
100%.
They gonna be to hear even again, like, I ain't gonna get all into it because that's a different episode.
Nah, man, I'm gonna keep it funky, man. I was riding down West Paces and I had to put one up driving by the governor's off the house just to let them catch that aroma real quick and let them know, like, we here. It's time. The era of prohibition is over.
They know what's up, man.
They know
what's up.
That's just what it is. I wanted to catch all them terpenes.
So, is there anybody in particular that you want to see while you're there?
Oh man, I know Dr. Bridget Williams is going to be there.
Yeah.
She's one of the most dynamic doctors out of Ohio, doing amazing work. Look forward to seeing her. I'm sad you're not going to be there, but I'm looking forward to seeing Gary Chambers speak. It's such a dynamic list of speakers, man. But Gary Chambers for sure. I want to catch his keynote address. And I want to catch all the interviews that you do, because I know that you make, like you said earlier, you're very intentional about who you spend time and energy with. And thank you very much for having me on today.
Very intentional.
But yeah, I know if I can follow you around, I know you're going to catch some awesome content with everybody that matters.
We are. I got a hit list of people I do want to speak with. Like me and Chris already spoke about it. After we do our conversation on stage, we definitely gonna get it in with the podcast.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to Whitney Beatty. I want to speak with her. Troy Datcher. I definitely want to speak with him while I'm there. Fab Five. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fab Five, bro.
For
I
sure.
gotta catch a convo with Fab Five while I'm out there.
Absolutely.
And of course, just get general networking. I feel like every year you should be expanding your network in some way, and there's always somebody who's coming up
100%.
who you'd be shocked they're able to do what they do. You know what's crazy? I was watching Playlist on Netflix, and Playlist is about how Spotify came to be.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm going to check that out.
Man, what's so crazy is watching that show is, well, one, the fact that this group of these really nerdy techie white kids in Sweden literally turned the music industry on its head.
I remember that, though.
Literally turned the music on its head.
Yeah,
But the thing that stuck out to me the most, and it goes back to networking and being open to meeting new energy every year, is how hard the labels were against Pirate Bay and against Spotify or anything that seemed like free music to them.
Threat.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, I cannot believe y'all. For one, at one point, I'm literally yelling at the screen to the dude at Sony Sweden. Why don't you just pitch an idea where Sony does their own streaming? Like, the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are y'all so nervous about this platform and just create your damn own?
Right.
And eventually he did. He got to a point where he works with Universal, and Universal funded Spotify or got involved with Spotify, and here we are. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
it's amazing to see that story, because it reminds me again why it's important to be open to new energy. Even if you're not with the idea, be open to be like, all right, yeah, let's have a conversation.
Man, because change is inevitable.
Yeah.
Change is inevitable, right? And everybody uses the common analogy of the Netflix situation. Like, I remember that era. I remember going to Blockbuster, getting videos, smoking hella bud, watching good movies. And then all of a sudden this business came around where they would send DVDs to my mailbox. And now I don't have to drive to Blockbuster. And then I can keep them for as long as I want. And I can send them back. And then all of a sudden now it's all streaming. Like, change is inevitable.
Change is inevitable.
So, you either evolve or you pass away.
I do want people to watch the last Blockbuster on Netflix. Netflix did not end Blockbuster.
Blockbuster ended Blockbuster.
Blockbuster ended Blockbuster.
They had an opportunity to get in.
Also, Sumner Redstone used Blockbuster almost like a credit card. Like,
Right.
when they bought Blockbuster,
Exactly.
they was using it to basically be debt for a bunch of movies they was trying to do. It was
Right.
collateral.
Right.
Yeah, they fucked up.
Exactly.
They fucked up. Netflix was actually still number 2 behind them for a minute.
Absolutely. And so, it's being able to, like, have a vision for the future, but embrace the future no matter what change might come.
But you're right still about the whole, because Netflix was still taking too long to adapt to what was clearly in people's faces. You know what I mean? And you're correct. You gotta adapt with the times. Like, don't be so, closed-minded. I feel like I'm always open to new energy, especially younger energy. Like, have new people around you. Have people who are just now starting to say, hey, I got this idea. Again, every idea might not work for me, but I'll at least listen.
Absolutely. The option and opportunity for innovation is important, which brings me to something else I want to share with you. My partner, Justin, and I, once again, Justin Buck, Morehouse, class of 2018, University of Maryland, class of 2022, Masters of Cannabis Therapeutics.
Oh.
We have formed a nonprofit organization called the Cannabis Literacy Club. So when you talk about innovation, change,
Yes.
the next generation, we have made it our mission to carve out a lane for our young people in the Atlanta University Center. We're Morehouse men ourselves, but we love and respect everybody in AUC. So Morris Brown, Clark, Spelman. We want to carve out opportunities for these young people to have careers in cannabis, because we feel like everybody is really, not everybody, but a lot of people are laser focused on cultivation, dispensary ownership, which is great, right? There is no industry without cultivation, so we need the growers and we need the cultivators. But there's so many opportunities out there in this industry that are often overlooked and that we often don't have the education or training on. So we're doing bi-weekly seminars on Morehouse campus, educating the students on cannabis science, history, career development opportunities, etc. And our mission is to educate students, but also to give them an opportunity to get a career in this space. And whether it be an ancillary opportunity, an ancillary for the listeners who might not know, those are all the businesses that don't touch the cannabis plant. So everything that supports the industry, the accountants, the lawyers, the marketing people, the designers, the architects, the HVAC for the growers, the plumbers, lighting, everything, the whole ecosystem around the cannabis industry requires work. The scientists understanding the cannabinoids and the minor cannabinoids and the terpenes and the entourage effect. It's a million different things to do. And we can't sit back and cry about, oh, diversity, equity, inclusion, oh, social equity licenses, I want a dispensary. Because I'm going to keep it funky with you. You know, before I came into cannabis, my background is entrepreneurship, and the conversation that nobody's having about dispensary ownership is that it's not very profitable.
Yeah.
Right? The tax burden is tremendous. You can't write off anything. It's a headache. And it's particularly with the prices of wholesale cannabis going down. Right? So it's so many elements that don't make that the most ideal investment to spend your time and energy on if we're just keeping it real with people.
And a lot of people aren't good business people. So
that too, but folks get caught up in this ego play where they got this fly dispensary.
Exactly.
It looks like an Apple store, and the line is out the door, and they doing $20 million a month. And then, you know,
selling weed.
It's great to have a business that's cash flowing $20 million, but when it costs you $19 million and $9 million to do it, then you're not really making any money. So the reality is, man, Cannabis Literacy Club is operating in the AUC. This is our first chapter in Atlanta. We plan on taking this nationwide, first focusing on HBCUs and our community, making sure our people have an opportunity to get in position, you know, to get in this game. So it's coming together.
Put me in the game, Coach. I want to be down.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Oh, man, you already in the game. You going to be coaching with us.
I want to be down, man. You know what I need to do one day is get you, Dr. Hodge, get Buck, get the Canago kids. We need to have a whole Morehouse cannabis conversation.
Oh, definitely, bro.
On this podcast. And my first question is going to be, so Morehouse don't know this shit? Like, they're at this point graduating cannabis entrepreneurs?
Yeah, real shit. It's so funny you mentioned that, bro, because a project we're working on as we speak is a database of AUC alums in cannabis.
Need to, man.
To take this to our administrators and our executives making decisions. So, look, we already have 100 or so people in cannabis that have no help. They receive no help from the campus, from their alma mater. They done paid you 80, 100, 120, 150,000 for this degree. They're in cannabis and they receive no resources. So we want to change that. And years from now, we see ourselves being kind of a trampoline for these young people to find their way in this space.
Well, my brother, I look forward to kicking it with you in New Orleans this weekend, man. Kicking back a little bit.
Man, smoking some good weed, eating some good food.
I'm more looking forward to the food, but yeah, definitely
real
the weed
talk,
too.
real
Definitely
talk.
the weed too.
Already got like half a zip just pre-rolled up. I don't play. I don't like, look, the one thing we don't get any recoup on in life is time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend no time rolling up no weed.
My boy. Shout out to Christy Price.
Period.
Christy has put together an amazing event. It's going to be going down this week in New Orleans, Black CannaCon. We are almost 1 day away. I haven't even packed yet. Yeah, man, I'm on that wave.
Oh, no, this time tonight, I'm going to be on the plane, brother. I'm taking off tomorrow.
I thought about that too, but I was like, you know what? I need sleep. I need sleep.
Yeah.
Cause you know my life, like you've been to the gig, like bro,
it's
it's all day, man. I need half of a break.
Big salute to you, man. You got a lot going on yourself, brother, and I just appreciate everything you do. I appreciate the invitation coming out here tonight, man, and I'm really looking forward to New Orleans, man. We're gonna tear some oysters up.
Not only that, man, we're gonna make history, man. We're gonna really set the tone for what's gonna look like next year and the year after that and the year after that. I want to see Black CannaCon grow to the space that MJ Biz is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you, Mike, for coming through, man.
Thank you, bro.
Before we get out of here, let people know how they can follow you, how they can learn more about Cannabis Literacy Club, how they can do anything.
Absolutely, man. Cannabis Literacy Club. Follow us on Instagram by that name, Cannabis Literacy Club, spelled the correct way. Follow me at _CM Collective, _ that's Cannabis Media Collective I'm also on YouTube. I have a lot of great interviews and content with doctors and
He really does.
Professional individuals that could give real life advice on how to apply this plant. Find me on YouTube at Cannabis Media Collective. Mike Lawson. Find me at Lawson. That's my personal IG. I don't do much cannabis content on that. I try to focus on my Cannabis Media Collective platform. And then also go to the website. We're revamping the website, but we're about to drop a lot of dope content. CannabisMediaCollective.com.
That's what's up, man. We might catch you in the next Bad Boys movie.
And that too. Hey, look. Speaking of that, look, I'm trying to get with Tyler Perry. Like, look, come on, Tyler. I seen him on somebody's late night show talking about he wants to get into cannabis.
Man, everybody talk about they want to get into cannabis when they get on these podcasts and these talk shows. Man, do it.
Let's stop talking about
especially when you billionaires. Like, stop talking about what you going to do and
real
do
talk.
Shit,
and look, we're gonna manifest that. Remember, I said this on your show. I know for a fact I'm gonna end up in a room with Tyler, and I'm gonna have that conversation with him. Like, look, you got Tyler Perry Studios, man. Invest in CMC Studios. Let's take over this game. Let's provide opportunities for our young people to develop their careers in cannabis to where we can say 5, 10, 15 years from now, this young billionaire, he came from up on our wing.
I feel you. If I could have that moment, I'm hiring it with Byron Allen. Like, I feel like Byron Allen, me and him would fully get it. Like, bro, I get it. You bought Weather Channel and shit. Like,
right.
Cash Color Cannabis.
Come on, let's go.
You know,
they gonna see it. They gonna see it eventually.
Cash Color Cannabis.
We're gonna have that conversation.
Yes, sir, man. Mike, I appreciate you. Let's talk how we talk and have these conversations off air right now. And I'm gonna see you in New Orleans shortly.
Man, smoke one and NO.
Hey yo, man. It's Cash Color Cannabis, high level conversation on livehip-hopdaily.tv.